CapsuleComputers.com, and today I'm here with
Seth Olshfski. Hi.
Yeah, and we're here at the Darkness 2 event for Insert Coins. How are you going today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. So you're the producer for Darkness 2, is that correct?
Yeah, producer of 2K working on Darkness 2.
Yeah. So what does that involve?
Essentially, whatever's not art and programming, the production group is always kind of helping to keep a high level view of everything that's going on to make sure that everybody's pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, cool. Sounds great. So going with the Darkness 2, sequel to Darkness 1, obviously.
Yep.
So what are the main things you've thrown in to make it better, gameplay-wise?
Well, I think that my favorite thing, which is new for Darkness 2, is quad wielding, we're calling it. In a lot of games, you get dual wielding, where you have the two guns and you can use them to shoot. For the Darkness 2, you also have the two demon arms, which are hanging over Jackie's shoulders.
Yes.
The left demon arm is a grabbing demon arm, where you can pick somebody up by the throat, knock his head off. Maybe you can pick up a parking meter and throw it at somebody and skewer him.
Nice.
Pick up a car door and use it as a shield and shoot through the window. So the left grabbing demon arm in combination with the right slashing demon arm, where you can slash somebody in half up the middle, knock their legs off, knock obstacles out of your way. Those four weapons simultaneously, two guns, grabbing and slashing demon arms, quad wielding. They're always completely under control. So you can be reloading your shotgun while you are picking one guy up and slashing another guy in half. You can be picking up the car door while you are knocking somebody down to the ground and shooting through it with two guns.
Yeah.
And that full control over four weapons at all points in time, totally awesome. Quad wielding is one of our favorite things for the gameplay for Darkness 2.
That's awesome. Now, the first game, the entire franchise of Darkness, based off the comic book.
Yes.
So, the story-wise, is this also taken from the comics, or is this a whole new experience?
Well, we have two things that we're sort of building the game on. One is the comics, and the other is the first game.
Yeah.
For the comics, they were definitely inspiration. For the first game, we are really, really strict. That is law. We can't change anything from that. So the narrative for the Darkness 2 happens 2 years after the events of Darkness 1, with the same characters, the same world, and we didn't change any of the events that happened in that first game. So that is absolutely our strict rules for the narrative of Darkness 2.
Yeah, awesome. So with the game itself, we got co-op going great, but I noticed Jackie's not part of that. Is it? It's all. He's not playable.
Well, he's correct. Yeah.
So all these new characters. Want to tell us a bit about them?
The Vendettas campaign, we call the co-op campaign Vendettas. It's a fully narrative-based campaign. It's narrative-based co-op. Everything that we do in the game is in service of story. That's one of our core pillars. And so, when we were thinking about co-op, we wanted to make sure that you got something out of it. It's not just killing a dude; it's why you kill a dude.
Yeah.
So they needed to be doing something for a reason. So there's a whole plot line for the co-op, which happens in parallel to the single-player plot line. So, for instance, in the first mission in the single-player, Jackie has to summon the darkness back and learn, in order to save himself. But he wants to bottle the darkness back up, so he sends these four guys out to get a person who knows how to bottle the darkness up. And then when they find him, it's Johnny, who's the guy in one of our trailers. They bring him back to Jackie. So the plot line is parallel; they're happening concurrently, and the story is just as rich as a single-player story.
Awesome. That's pretty cool that you're actually going by a whole story aspect rather than, oh yeah, I'm just going to kill a dude and have like 10 minutes of fun.
Well, it still has to be 10 minutes of fun when you're killing a dude. Like,
yeah.
Co-op, you have to do a little bit. You can't really in the single-player game, you can have a really emotional moment while you're looking at. From the first game, maybe you're sitting on the sofa with your girlfriends, and it's a really powerful emotional moment. You don't want to have a powerful emotional moment with your buds over voice chat.
Yeah, you want to be like, oh, I just pulled this dude. Yeah,
I know, right? You have to be shooting dudes, not dude, press X to kiss. That's not what you want. So co-op is much more about just absolutely diving right into the action and never preventing you from being. More gunplay, more gameplay.
Yeah. I noticed you mentioned Johnny Powell. I love that dude. In all the trailers, he's always like, oh, there's Jackie guy, right? He's pretty, he's very charismatic.
Yeah.
Does he take a big part in the story?
He's a huge part of the story.
Huge part?
So he's sort of, Jackie is
like a narrator type thing, or
well, he's sort of the darkness lore crackhead Yoda. Jackie, he knows
Crackhead Yoda.
everything about the darkness and the history of the darkness. He was actually a grad student learning about kind of a real world mythology, and then got addicted to dark essence and fell off the deep end, living under a bridge. He's the guy who helped Jackie bottle up the darkness after the events of the first game. And so Jackie hasn't used the darkness for 2 years when the game starts. Because, in the first game, spoiler alert, the darkness makes Jackie watch his girlfriend's murder by holding him back. So you're watching the girlfriend get killed by somebody, and the darkness doesn't let you help.
yeah.
Jackie cannot let something control his life like that. So he bottles the darkness up, only with Johnny Powell's help. And so in the beginning of Darkness 2, he lets the darkness back out and doesn't want that to be a permanent thing, so he has to go find Johnny again. Johnny knows all about Dark Essence, he knows about the darkness, and he knows about the enemy that you'll find in the game.
That's yeah. Sounds very captivating.
Yeah.
And engaging. Just one more question before you just wrap things up and stuff. So the Darkness 2, we've got a very strong story in that by the looks of things. And what I love about that is a lot of other first-person shooters kind of focus more on the whole multiplayer aspect rather than setting up a story. Is that something you took from the comics, or is that something you took from the first game? Is it something you want to improve on?
I think if you look at people make lists of like the top 10 emotional moments in games, or the top 10 narrative moments in games. Darkness 1 is almost always on there.
Yeah.
Because we took really risky decisions about the way that we told the story and the types of stories that we would tell.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole scene in Darkness 1 that's interactive, where your girlfriend brings you your birthday cake, and then you can sit on the sofa and watch a movie.
You wouldn't
and you
expect
can watch
that.
the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like it's 2 hours of, you can do that. And then, that scene really kind of makes you fall for Jenny. And then later when she's killed in front of you, you really hate the dude who killed her. It's an emotional connection that we thought they really raised the bar for storytelling. We couldn't let that go. We needed that bar to stay just as high or higher. So Paul Jenkins wrote a bunch of the comic books. Paul Jenkins wrote the first game. Paul Jenkins wrote the second game. And
So we expect the same sort of epicness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Narrative trickery. There will be many moments which will make you have feelings. I'm not going to narrow it down any more than that because I'd spoil it otherwise. But it's with that being one of the core pillars, many of our decisions were in service of story.
That sounds great. So when can we get this?
February 10th here, sorry. In Australia, February 10th. You're going to look for Darkness 2 on PC, PS3, or 360. And right now, already available is the demo, which is playing behind us here, which you can download from Xbox Live if you have a gold membership.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you.